So this week, if the licks didn't give it away and the title of the thumbnail didn't give it away, nor the video, then the 335 might. But we won't be duck walking throughout this video just because there's not enough room in my shed and I probably can't coordinate the walk with playing at the same time. There you go. That's it in a nutshell. This week's licks, obviously, Chuck Berry. So we've got some Johnny B. Goode solo licks and one from the intro as well. 5 of them, which just basically run through that kind of major blues rock style, which I would say is actually quite tricky to play in parts, just to get the full kind of energy from it without making too many mistakes. They're great licks to learn, and they can give you a good insight into how to incorporate different notes into your pentatonic, standard pentatonic kind of shapes as well, and the blues scales. So you could look at this as though we're using blues scales and adding some extra kind of flavour notes within. But that's down to you to decide how you want to look at it, and I won't waffle on too much, so please do consider liking, sharing, subscribing, hitting that bell button for the future notifications, visiting all the socials as well. Come and visit all that and drop me a little message down below with a thumbs up. That is always helpful for pushing the video along. Right, enough said. I shall see you all soon. Tab is free on my website, lessons with me on Patreon, all linked below as well. Here comes the breakdown. Cliche Chuck Berry lick coming out for this one. So if you haven't learnt this one already, then I do suggest that this is the one to start with, because it's lick number 1. That makes sense. But you're sliding or hammering on from the 6 to the 7 with either your second finger or using your first and second finger if you're going to use it as a hammer on, and that is on the 3rd string. So that's like that, going to the 6 and the 8 on the 2nd string. So then, first finger, this is the bit that people have most trouble with, I would say. So you're sliding from the 5 up to the 6. Like that. So that's basically 3 times, and on the 3rd time you've got an extra strike on that 6th fret with a double stop. So you end up with the 5, just like that. Then you've got a rundown, so which is coming from the 9, 8 and then 6 on the 2nd string. Rolling that first finger across to the 3rd string, hammering onto the 7. And then 2 strikes of the 8, which is the root note of B flat on that D string. So I'll play it slowly for you, and it sounds like this. 2, 3. There you go. Let's move on to lick number 2. Get your right hand working, so this is good. So you double stop again, back to that 6th fret on the 1st and 2nd strings. 5 strikes on that. Dig in quite hard because you're going to be playing it quick anyway. So and that's basically the whole lick, which is repeated twice in total. And then you half that lick and repeat that twice. So you've got, which is 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double stops on that 6th fret. Then it's the 8 on the 3rd string, and then 6, 7 hammer onto the 3rd string as well, going to the 8th fret, then on the 4th string. So that's what you have. Then you repeat that, and then you take the last half of that lick, which can be quite tricky for the fingers, but basically you're taking the 6 and then the 8 6, hammer 7, and then the 8 on the D string, but twice. Or technically 3 times if you include the second bar as well. Then on the last bar you have 6 again, so we're always reoccurring back to that, which is going 1, 2, 3 to finish that lick off with, which is basically again that 6, second string, first string, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3. Let them ring out, don't stop them as I just did. And then you've got a pull off, hammer on, which is going to be 8, pull off to the 7, and then 6, so all the way through, and then hammer the 6 back on, so onto the 7 that is. And then you go to the 8, that standard kind of major blues lick or rock and roll lick. So I'll play that one slow for you now. Here it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and nice. Let's leave you with lick number 3. This one is a little bit tricky. You've got kind of a mini sweep in this. You're going to have to control your right hand just to kind of follow the left hand fingers if you're left-handed, right-handed even. So you're following this one through from the slide from the 5th fret going into that 6th fret second string. So, and that's your first bar. So that's the slide 5 to 6. Roll that finger again across to the 6th fret on that first string. Then you have the 9th fret on the second string, and then 8th fret on that first string. Now it's a little bit kind of jagged around the edges, this first bar, just because of the rests that are in there. So I'm going to play that again for you. So it goes 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, like that. The second bar should sound something like this, where you have along the lines of that, which is where that kind of mini sweep comes into it. So you have the 9, 8, and then double stop 6, standard place for the 6 to be a double stop. Then the 8 on the 3rd string, and then it's a slide from the 6 to the 7. I think I was using a hammer on because I find that easier, but no real shame if you don't use the slide. So, and then basically that, which is the starting from the beginning of the bar again. You got your 9, 8, 6, 3rd string, 8, 6, 7, and then 7, 6, 6. So with the 7, 6, 6 part, your 3rd string, second finger on that 7th fret, that's your first strike. Then rolling your first finger across to the 6 on the 2nd string, and then 6 on that first string. So you want to kind of get that nice little kind of chordal element of that coming out, trying to end up with that single note on that double stop, after the double stop where you roll through it on that first string, and that will do you proud. So I'll try and play it a little bit slower, but it goes something like this. 3, 4, and there you are. That's it. Right, on to lick number 4. Gonna put it out there and just say that this one is not my favourite one, but there you go. It's still a Chuck Berry lick nonetheless. So we start with the 8th fret, your root note on that D string, and then a double stop coming in on the 10 and the 9. So that's 3rd string and 2nd string. So, and I'm jumping the fingers across for the very reason that we're then using the 11th fret on that 2nd string. So you got. And then, purely and simply, but not so simple for the fingers, I find, anyway, I find this one awkward. You've got 9 on the third and then 8 on the second, and you're sliding that up to the 10 and the 9. So that's that lick, and that was it slow. Not much more to say about it apart from give it a go, see how you get on, and it will be worthwhile learning it, because I'm sure you'll put in that sort of lick somewhere if you're playing that rock and roll side of things. But let's move on to the last and final lick. That makes sense, or should I say the fifth and final lick. Here it comes. Dokily. So with this one, you start off with a slide from the 9 to the 10 on that first string. Then it's 11 on the second, 13 on that second, back to the 11 on that same string. So nice quick slide. Not so easy to play twice, clearly. And then you have basically the 9, 8 and 7 as double stops coming down that shape, so which is basically shape 1 blues scale if you like. Okay, so that's that area there. And then you have this lovely little Chuck Berryism, which is a single note to start off with. So this is where we would have been doing a double stop right on lick 1. But we start with the 5th fret, slide up to the 6th, so you do that twice, and then you pick it once you've heard that slide, you pick it once again. So, and basically bringing that double stop of like that. So on the third time it's the double stop, so you're just flattening the finger out to play the first string, same fret as well. And then you got 8 on the third, 6 on the third, to the root note of B flat on that 4th string. So now what you want to try and do with the 6 on that 3rd string, you want to try and get that blues curl on there. So you're kind of semitone bending up to the D note on that same string. If you can't quite get to that bend, don't worry about it, you'll work that in time, that's all fine. Once you've, poet didn't know it, once you've got the 8th note in place, you'll back to that double stop and then a rest straight after that, so that's 6 and 6 again, with another double stop slide, 5 to 6, and then you strike the 6 once more, so that's 5, slide up to 6, strike it again, both strings. And then the 8th, 6th, 3rd string, again that blues curl or kind of semitone bend on that 3rd string, and that takes you into your root note once more of that B flat. So they're all very straightforward, but it's going to take a while to get used to the formations and the way it actually works mechanically. Yeah, let's play it slow. So it goes 3, 4 and start that again because that was weird timing. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There you have it. Let's hand you back to me to sign this week off, and your Chuck Berry lick's done. There you go. There you have it. So we're at the end once more. Hopefully you've enjoyed this lesson. It's been a good fun one to do actually. There's a lot within the Chuck Berry style of stuff which I didn't realise kind of happened. I've always shied away from the rock and roll standard style of playing just because they are so cliche. I was brought up with sort of Slash and Richie Sambora and Satriani and Steve Vai and all those players. So Chuck Berry is one of those players that kind of didn't really venture into my repertoire, as it were, so listening or playing. But there we go, that is it. So I shall leave you with that this week. Please do subscribe if you haven't done so already, give it a thumbs up and give us a comment below just to help push this video along in the algorithms, which will be absolutely epic because every YouTuber needs that, right? We don't want any negativity if we can help it. What else is there? Need to say Patreon. Oh, that was it. Patreon stuff. If you want a lesson with me, which you can have online, so it doesn't. I'm teaching a guy a couple of people actually in California at the moment, and I'm here in the UK, so we can always work out times to suit around you. But not going to dwell on that too much. If you want more information, it's down below in that description bit. I nearly forgot the words, it's so warm. Description pane down below, and you can find all sorts of lessons and things not here on YouTube with jamming tracks, etc. I shall bid you a farewell, and I shall see you next time. Take care, everybody. See you later.